You're listening to the Current Plays Podcast, Season 3, Episode 24, Ark Nova. And now please welcome your hosts, Jordan and Thomas. And welcome back our zoological listeners. This week on the Current Plays Podcast, we're talking about a game I didn't really trash it at all. If you recall, one of our older episodes, I talked about how the artwork on the cover of this box just made me not want to play it at all, even though it's an extremely popular game, right? Um, I still kind of stand by that decision. I'm not a big fan of the artwork. The game, however, I must admit, is pretty good. So the game we were talking about is Ark Nova, currently number 2 on the BGG list, and still in the hotness. Actually,
really, number 2, really,
number 2 behind Brass Birmingham.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
With a complexity or weight, complexity rating. Pardon me, of 3.79, which again is surprising to me.
Sure. Yeah.
The designer is Matthias Vega. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but German designer. So yeah, it's Matthias Vega or something similar. And published by Futureland and Capstone Games over here in North America. So this is a game where you are growing and managing a modern zoo, basically by building enclosures and then putting animals in those enclosures and supporting, conservation efforts and scientific research is the theme of it, right? And yeah, in the game you're doing just that. You're building out. You've got a map in front of you, and what's cool is that your map is like your player board, and it's got various different maps on it. Like there are various player boards with different map styles on it. So there's one that's like the basic map where it's all the same for all players. That's the one that we played with last night.
Nice.
Sort of a starter map. And then there, to spice things up, there's a bunch of different ones. So that's cool. And then so on the maps, got a hex grid that you're going to fill with various size enclosures, from 1 to 5. And they have different shapes. So there's a bit of a puzzle of, placing down these enclosures, which may, cover up a bonus that you would get. And then you have to put animals in those enclosures, and the enclosures have to be large enough to suit the various, animals. So a size 1 animal can go in any enclosure really, but a size, an elephant can't go in an enclosure meant, for a raccoon or something. It's just not big enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What were your first impressions of the game?
It has been a really long time since I picked up a game that I just could not immediately see some sort of path forward, right? And that's a good thing. So that's props to this game for, and by the end of it, I still was like, I don't know what I could have done differently there, right? It was hard. Like not that it was, again, we talk about complexity, and I understood how everything worked together. I just did a really poor job of doing that, right?
Right.
And yeah, watching you do it and some of the combos you pulled off, I was like, oh man, that is wicked. But I'm not doing that. We're playing 2 different games here. Yeah. But yeah,
Part of that was probably just bad, like poor card draw, like
it could have
unlucky
been
card draw.
for sure.
Yeah.
I hear some of the complaints for like, wingspan is you have that giant deck, and then, you're trying to do something and you just can't draw the right cards. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure, I had some of that in this game where like all the initial objectives that were up, the funding things that we could fund, or the conservation, things that we were trying to research. I never drew a card that helped me on any of those tracks kind of thing, right? They're
Right.
not tracks, but those areas. Um, I drew some, but it was like bad timing when I did get them, and then others were just more expensive than I could afford at the time. And I probably should have tried to cycle through more cards. So, I
Yeah.
think it falls in my ballpark still of things that I probably should have done better. But yeah, no, it was one of those things that I think mid game too, I was like, yeah, there is no way I am I'm going to catch up at this point as well. But it was still fun. Like I was enjoying myself playing it, and I was trying to see how can I dig myself out of this hole the entire time, right? So that was but well, there's a lot of things that are done in this game that I was really impressed with. So I think it, deserves definitely some of the hype that it gets, because it played really well and it was a lot of fun to play as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really neat things going on in this game. So it's one of those, you got a giant deck of cards with keywords, and then you get three random objectives looking for keywords, right? Or icons, in this case, more icons than keywords, but same thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, Now, like you said, I happen to, I got a couple of the keywords, and well, I think you had like a couple of birds, and I had a couple of like European animals, which were two of our, and then herbivores was the other objective in this game. But I noticed like every animal you were playing was like from the Asian continent,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you had so many. I was like, well,
Handful
if
of
that was
Asian
one of our
animals.
objectives, we'd have
Yeah.
been flying, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so that's cool. We've seen that in other games. But two of the really, really cool things in this game, I think one is the scoring, the way you score at the end,
Yeah.
and two is the action selection mechanism. So I actually didn't realize you told me that the action selection mechanism is similar to Civilization, was it?
Yeah, so Civilization, I believe it's called The New Dawn, is the subtitle for that. But yeah, yeah, it's the same action selection mechanism in both games. Yep.
So you've got five cards that have your actions on them, and they're in slots 1 to 5, which is the strength of the action that you're doing. So if you do an action, you're going to do it at the strength of wherever it is, and then everything below it will slide up, and then that card goes to the one strength action slot. So then, as you take actions, if you're taking high level actions, you're if you're always taking high level actions, they're at their max strength, and you're doing all of the actions instead of focusing on one, right? Whereas if you're somebody who's trying to spam the same action over and over and over again, it's constantly going to be at the lowest strength, so
Hmm.
it's not going to be efficient. And then you know, timing your sequence of plays throughout the round to maximize the efficiency of those actions. Like it's such a great mechanism.
Yeah, it's a really neat one too. And it has this kind of almost like, so you're trying to build up to those fives, right? So you can take the action in the five, like you were mentioning, it's the most powerful, right? But sometimes, like as you're taking a card from the five, you bring it down to the one space, everything moves up. Sometimes you get a card in that five spot that you just really don't want to take that action, right? And
Yep.
that's another aspect to this sort of mechanic that is almost like a detriment to your playing, but like something you have to work around. So it's not a bad part of the mechanic. It's something part of this mechanic that makes it more interesting is that now I have this card in slot 5. I really don't want to take it because say it's the cards card that lets you draw cards and break. So you move this kind of round timer down. It's not really round timer, but it
Yeah.
progresses you to sort of another funding phase, I suppose is a good way of saying it. Um, so yeah, sometimes that's there, and you're like, okay, I got a handful of cards. I really don't want to move that down. There's no point in moving that down. Um, so really don't want to take that action right now because I'm working on some of the cards in my hand. And if I just am clogging more cards in, the game has a very low hand limit,
Size limit.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it, at the start of the game, you have a 3 card hand limit, and then you can upgrade that to 5 cards pretty easily. But yeah, you can upgrade it to 5. You have to make a choice to do that early on, amongst other good stuff that you can choose instead, right? So you get that up to 5, let's say. Um, but that's still, if you do the cards action in the 5th level spot, you can end up drawing something like, 2, 3 cards before it gets upgraded. When it's upgraded, it's like 4 cards, right? That's like almost an entire new hand at that
Yeah.
point. And I couldn't imagine just sitting there with 10 cards in your hand by the time the timer gets down and you have to get discard down. But maybe that's what I did wrong, right? Is that I didn't want to spend it there for the extra cards. But
Hmm.
yeah, so that was the thing. So then you have this card that you really want in position 5 that is stuck in position 4 now. And it's like, okay, well, I got to take this action I don't really want so I can take the action I really want, in time, right? And then you
Hmm.
have a bit of play where it's even, something's in the 3rd spot and you want to bump it up, but the thing that's in the 2 spot you really need to take right now. So now you're only moving the 2 spot card to the 1 spot and the 1 spot to the 2, and the 3 still stays there,
Yep.
doesn't increase, right? So it's like, oh, so it's just that little, all those decisions you have to kind of make on when to use the cards and when to take a less efficient sort of action, and when to take the action at its fullest potential. Now the
Right.
flip
Right.
side to that too is that sometimes you don't need to get a card up to 5. You only need to do the, animal in the cages at a level 2 where you're putting one animal in, right? You don't need to do it at level 5 where it allows you to do, 2 animals into 2 different spots,
Enclosures.
right? Yeah, yeah, closures, yeah. So, that's another added aspect to it.
Well, for me, right, I was focusing on small animals. So that was my one of my private objectives was have like 10 small animals. And so there were a few times in the game where I had to build, but I only wanted a size 1 or 2 enclosure. But my but because I wasn't building, that build card was, in the 4 or the 5 slot, and I'm
Yeah.
spending that and only getting, a size 1 or 2 enclosure. And it felt like a waste, right? It felt like, oh, if I was playing efficient, I would play it at the 2, but that's not always the case. And I could have upgraded the card so that I could have built multiple enclosures with the one action, but there was always like a different card upgrade that was more important at the time
Yeah.
when I got the card upgrade, bonus. So yeah, yeah. The other one is the association action. So you take the association action, you actually have like workers that you
Yeah.
have to place on whatever action slot. But especially at the beginning of the game, you place that worker and now you don't have another worker. So that association card is kind of useless, and it'll quickly go up to 5 and then just sit there.
Yeah, blocking that spot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at that point, you want the, round timer to time down so that, you could use that again in spot five and then, send out another worker because that
Right.
essentially this timer is a coffee break. And once the coffee break times out, you reset the workers come back. The board changes a bit where some of the cards come off and new cards draw up. You get payment based on how far you've moved up the
Appeal
basically
points track.
the appeal points, which is your scoring track.
Yeah.
And that whole aspect is is really interesting how they've done that. Um, but yeah, so you do that. The farther you're along the appeal track, the more money you get. So it's like there's all these reasons why you want to take the the kind of break actions to draw that forward. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to do that until I really need to. Because then if say you haven't taken the association action, so you haven't placed your worker out, and then you go through that, well, you missed out on being able to place a worker out during that round, essentially, if you didn't do it yet, right?
Yep.
Same with like just things with how it sometimes just how you play cards, right? Some of the cards you play down give you bonuses for the income phase that only triggers during that once the break round end of round phase happens, right? So it's like, okay, kind of want to get those cards out so that when that happens, I can get what I'm producing on these cards, right? So yeah, that's a really so I don't want to rush it until I get this card out. Then I can rush it because then I'll get all the stuff that I can get, right?
Yeah. And
And
you're
then
trying
it's
to bump your appeal up so that when the income happens, you get more income, but you want to do
exactly.
it before your opponent does the same thing, right? Like,
Yeah, bump it up and then rush it so that they're farther back, don't get as much money, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it's all, or like even to the things where like you have these enclosures and you have kiosks on your board, and then everything that the kiosk is touching will give you that has an animal in it or is a filled building will give you a coin for, right? So it's like, okay, I want to fill the animals in too before we take that break, and that
yep,
way I'll get more money for it, kind of thing, right? So it's a really neat. Okay, if I've placed an enclosure that I know I'm putting an animal in, then I got to put the animal in, and then we can end the round, right? So yeah, there's all these little things that you're trying to do before an end of round happens, but then also try and push that forward so that it makes it harder on your opponent as well. And that
yeah.
was yeah, really neat aspect to this game, right? So yeah.
And I noticed in the beginning you kept because you were just trying to get money, I think.
Yes.
Um, so you can spend one of the cards to do a sponsor action, play a sponsor card, or you can do it and to get whatever the strength of that action is, you get that much money and you push that coffee mug or whatever up that far on the track in order to trigger a break. And you kept doing it and putting it right at the like 2 away from the break, and then I would play the card,
Yeah.
draw cards, and push that to that break, which is like that card moves you exactly 2. and and then if you're the one who triggers it, you get a special token which you can spend to increase the strength of your actions. So I think you did it a couple of times where you left it right on 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made that play, and then you were like, okay, I'm not gonna do that again.
You know what was interesting about that though? Is I found it really neat because I finished it once and then you get the next action after it, right? Because you
Yeah,
follow in turn order, right?
right,
And it's almost like, that break turn happens, and then the board sort of resets, and that person gets, first action on the new board. So that
right.
was an interesting thing too, that I was like, It was really nice. Yes, I was giving you the token, but then I had the brand new board. Okay, if I do an association action, I get first pick of whatever I'm going to, right? If I need a
Yes.
card that's on there, I can go and get that card right away, kind of thing, right? So that was really you give up the token, but then you get first pick. But then if you don't take an action that really takes advantage of that, which happens sometimes too, I was like, yeah, okay, first turn, but I can't take advantage of this, so whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
You
was
you
yeah, it was
blocked
interesting.
me a couple of times on that association board, and in the end, what happened was I couldn't fill the universities or the partnership zoo tracks, and so I missed out on 4 conservation points because of your, good plays on that association board.
Yeah, yeah. I really liked the association board. I thought that was really well done too, because you're going there, you're getting these upgrades for your board, and they're either universities you can place on the board, which again, just the way it's mapped out the board, like the first one you place is it gives you bonuses. Maybe it's the upgrade to your hand, whatever. But it's always the second thing that you can put on your board gets you something good, whether it's a card upgrade or whatever, right? And it's the same when the other thing you can get from that association board are these partnership um, tokens. And typically the partnerships will allow you to have a partnership with a certain, continent. So if a animal requires a specific partnership, you have to have that partnership. But also, anything from that continent will be at a discounted rate, so you'll get 3 coins off, playing those cards, which adds up.
Yeah, big
It
time.
really, yeah, it's really helpful. You think three, okay, whatever, but when you're placing, say 2 animals at a time, and each of them are the partnership that you have, that's 6 coins. And there was a few times where I'm like, okay, I have 2 animals. This is going to be 46 coins. Now it's only 40. And you think, well, yeah, 6 coins, but 6 coins gets you an extra enclosure potentially of 3 or lower size, or 2 out of 2 and a 1. Like there's a lot of things you can do with 6 coins that or helps you halfway to another smaller animal or something, right? So there's the money's tight in this game, and I found those discounts were fairly helpful. And again, the second partnership you cover up like an upgrade or something on your board that allows to get more stuff, kind of thing, right? So it's
Yeah, yeah.
I like that association action, and then the association action is also how you fund the
Conservation
conservation things,
projects.
which
Yeah.
pushes you up on the conservation track. And the tracks we haven't quite talked, but like scoring wise, it's all one big track that loops, basically is a giant U. So you start conservation on one side and then appeal on the other. And then the appeal is much easier to raise. Your everything you do usually ends up in giving you some appeal, right? So you're adding animals, you can go like 3 to 8 appeal or 9 appeal per animal, depending on how, kind of rare the animal is, or exciting it is. And it feels good. It's like, oh yeah, look at this. Look at this appeal. I just went up this turn. But the appeal spots, the way they work is you move them, and they're from a like, if you're looking at the board, they're smaller, and this is going to sound weird, but they're like the actual board spots are smaller than the conservation areas. And the conservation area kind of gaps the space of like 2 to 3 appeal
Three.
points.
It's always three.
Always three? Okay, so three. So
Yeah, the income is different. The income, like it gets
okay, so income's the
harder to
one
get
that,
more
yeah.
income as you go, but conservation points are always worth 3 appeal.
Always three. Yeah. So if you think, okay, yeah, I got 6 appeal on this animal, it's like, okay, yeah, but that's only 2 conservation points. So you can move the same amount in conservation, um, with 2 movement or 3 movement that you could with like a 9 movement on the peel, which doesn't sound wild until you get to the end game. And those, yeah, and those conservation movements end up scoring you
They're
like massive
huge.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
jumping all these points ahead because I'm moving 3 appeal spots at once, right?
And the way the scoring works is like the end of the game happens as soon as one person that appeal, as the appeal points are coming around, and then the conservation points are coming around the other way. As soon as they occupy the same area, like so that conservation point covers 3 different appeal points. And as soon as those two are in the same area, that's the end of the game. Everyone else gets one more turn, and then your actual score is the difference between your conservation, like where you are on the appeal track. It sounds weird, but you go where you are on the appeal track, uh, where your conservation token is on the appeal track,
Yeah.
and then where your appeal track token is, you calculate the difference. So, I mean, the game ends when they're together, and then you're relying on sort of end game conservation points to push that gap. So, uh, your private objective will do that, right? You get up to, I think, 4 conservation points on your private objective if you meet all the conditions.
Yep.
And then some of the sponsor cards will also give you like a conservation point. And I remember at the beginning of the game, it was like, oh, if you meet this objective, you can get 1 conservation point. And you're like, oh, it's 1 point. And I'm like, yeah, but 1 point can be a big deal.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Because like one end game point is so valuable because again, that's 3 more appeal.
yeah,
And
yeah.
at the end of this game, oh, what were our scores?
Oh, yeah. So this scoring is complete garbage. It's not,
I
but
thought it
it
was
is.
pretty amazing.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what my problem is with this scoring mechanism? It's really great on making you feel like a complete moron. There's games where you feel like super smart when you
Right.
score well and you do really well. This one goes, if you don't score, I don't even not even score well. If you don't score, you're a complete idiot. And that's how I felt after this game because of this score. Go ahead. Go
Right.
ahead. Read out the score.
So I think my appeal marker was in like the 60s or something like that, 50s or 60s. But again, because of the way you calculate the score, my end score was 19 points, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Your
mhm.
end score was negative 28.
-28. I had a negative score.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
That feels really good for the ego. And it's part of the reason why I said like it's been a long while since a game has come along and just made me feel like you didn't get this. You did not do well. Right? There's been games where I didn't do well and it'd be like, "Ah, okay, whatever, I lost and
Yeah.
I only got 100 points instead of 125. This one, no, you got negative points. You did so bad, you scored less than 0. Yeah. And you know what? I
Well,
hear with this one too that that's a thing. People
yeah.
score negative and and
Yeah.
and it's okay, I guess.
I mean, you were ahead of me most of the game on the appeal track. I think at the end I pulled ahead of you.
Yeah, yeah,
Actually, with my last turn was like a crazy turn, right?
yeah, yeah, it was.
I
Yeah.
I
Well, it was like 4 turns, so
yeah,
yeah,
I
your last
played
turn that turned into 4.
I played
Yeah.
2 animals because like I had the upgraded animals card and it was strength 5, so I played 2 animals. Um, those 2 animals gave me 2 additional turns. Plus, I had a sponsor card that let me play an additional animal if I only played small animals, right? So I played 2 small animals, then another one. Then I got two more turns, so I built another enclosure and then played another animal. So it was like four, yeah, and that's how you get your appeal points is by playing animals. And not only that, but one of the animals gave me a conservation point as well,
Yeah.
which ended up, ending the game on that turn. But your problem was you were struggling to get the conservation points.
I was following along with you with conservation points, and then I hit a wall, and you kept going,
Yeah.
and I didn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
just paused, and then the wheels came off, right? You know what I scored on my last turn? So yeah, you triggered the ending, and I was like, great, I get one more turn. I got one appeal point for my last turn. It didn't even push me into like a new,
Bracket. Yeah.
bracket. So I needed I needed 2 points to push me to a bracket, and then maybe I would
Uh-oh.
have only had negative 27 or 26 points. It's yeah,
Oh man.
it was quite the yeah, I was like I saw that turn. I was like, "Oh, if- go ahead. Yeah, take
Yeah.
17 turns. That's fine. Whatever. My turn, great. Yeah. What can I do? If I do it, oh yeah, if I do this, do the 1 point. One appeal, please. Yep. And then we're done. Yeah. And then
Oh
like
man.
when we were scoring the end game points, I was like, okay, maybe I can move this thing here. I got like four of these sponsorships that can score. And I looked down and I'm like, okay, sponsorship one. Okay, didn't meet this. So nothing there. Sponsorship two. Okay, 1 point. Sponsorship three, 1 point. Okay, this is great. Sponsorship four. And I'm like, one appeal point. I was like, what? That's my end game. I get one appeal point. Like you can keep that. Take your. I'm pulling funding for this sponsorship. So my zoo is
Uh
defunct now. So yeah,
oh man. Well, I feel bad too because for some reason I had it in my head at the beginning of the game that the goals, the conservation goals, were end game points, and I think I taught it like that, and then quickly, like the first couple of rounds, I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense, like because they don't have brown backs, right? That's got to be you get it at the time, and you're like, oh great, because I gave away some conservation cards because I thought it was end game and I did
yeah,
feel bad
yeah.
about that.
No,
So,
it was. I probably would have got rid of that. So I started my starting like opening hand. There was some synergies in there in the sense that it worked somewhat well together. One allowed me, I kept three animals and I kept one sponsorship. Now I knew the sponsorship I had, I needed to upgrade the sponsorship level to level two to actually be able to play it.
hmm,
Um, so that was probably a risky thing to keep at the start. And if it when we play again, I was gonna say if we play again, when we play again, because this was a great game. It's I know that was a card I definitely should have got rid of. Only
right.
because it was hard to get out, and I probably got it out like midway, maybe later than midway in the game. So I held on to that way too long. But also, it really wasn't that great of a card. Had
Hmm,
that come later game, yes, good. But it and actually, I don't even know if it would have been good at that point either, because it really what it allowed me to do was take one of the cards off of the row each round as part of my income, right? Um, and maybe good when you can like pick and choose what you really need to, you know what, yeah, and that's an end game card because you can when something comes up, you can snatch it right away during the break, and then get that played for boosting, conservation points or something, right? So having that in my hand was a poor choice. But the other three animals, one of them was a large animal. I think it was a tiger actually, that required like a four, a K, like an area for four, which was a big spot, but it was like big points. And I saw a way to sort of play that and another small one at the same time. Now, the smaller animals I had one allowed me to draw a card. which I thought was great because extra cards. And the other one I think did something that seemed fairly beneficial as well. Some sort of
Right.
it had some sort of ability on it, right? So like those three I was good with. I did get rid of one conservation effort card. But again, that opening hand had nothing related to the conservation goals, right? No
Right.
herbivores, no European animals, and no birds. Um, so yeah, that was a tough thing. And then I just wasn't drawing that stuff. But I thought, okay, if I can go this other route, I'll probably be okay. I was not okay.
Yeah, you really got to dig through the deck and find the cards that you're looking for, and also
Hmm.
be able to recognize, yeah, okay, this card's going to work for my strategy.
Yeah.
I got to keep on to that, and then get rid of the cards that, yeah, aren't going to work as well.
The,
Um,
oh, for sure. Yeah. There was a point that I saw something that was like, oh, I can make this work. I was going almost like this knowledge route where it was just this like little science token.
yeah, the research
Yeah,
icons,
research.
yeah.
Yeah, icons. And I was like, this is great. And then you played a card and scooped up like the entire row. And I went, oh, that's it for me. There's no coming back from that. Like all these cards that I was like, that's going to be a really great card. And then I'll combine it with that one. And I have these two in my hands. This is going to be phenomenal. And you scooped up like three of them. And I was like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah, you
yep,
had that card
yep.
that did that. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, I saw where you were going, and I was like, nah, I can't let you do that.
can't let you have points. Yeah.
So solo for this game is pretty neat. It really, like, somebody put it, so I can't remember who put it this way. It was a video or something, and they said, it just like gets out of your way. So you've got a little card with a certain number of tokens on it. I think it's 7 or 8 tokens or something like that. And then every turn, you move one of the tokens over to show that that turn's done. And then when all of those are over, then you get the coffee break. And then when you get the coffee break, you take one of those tokens off. So then the next round is, 1 turn shorter. And then the next
That's
round, one
cool.
turn shorter, 1 turn shorter. And so I think you basically have 25 turns in the game, and you just see if you can manage to
Cross streams.
cross
Yeah.
cross the streams.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And if you don't, you lose, and if you do, you win.
I really
And then
like that
obviously,
setup.
yeah,
That seems like a solid solo. Yeah.
there's no bot, there's no anything. Yeah, you just 25 turns, see what you can do with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I dig that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So,
So
yep.
overall, how would you rate this?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. I'm still not a big fan of the artwork. And I mean the theme's great. The gameplay is good. I really like I'm I'm still lukewarm on the whole, giant deck of cards thing, but I still enjoy those games. Like, I still enjoy Wingspan. I really enjoy this game, and it's got some really fresh, exciting mechanisms to play with.
Yeah, for sure. I can't add more. I do kind of dig the artwork, but yeah, no, I'm with you. It was fun, and I yeah, can't wait to play again.
And that wraps up another episode of the Current Plays podcast. Check us out next week on YouTube or your favorite podcast provider. But until then, good gaming and good night.
Good night, folks.